let's get out of here.
Yeah, well. Right, so I'm going to have to quickly go through my stream settings because as of right now, OBS shit itself and I'm getting many warnings. So ignore the start of this stream. In fact, I'm going to stop streaming for a moment and then I'll be right back. Right, now I'm still getting errors. I think it's back now. Okay, so if anyone's watching, I'll need you guys to kind of tell me what the quality is like. Basically, I was doing some recording the other day and realized that I accidentally kind of reset all the settings for OBS. So I'm not sure what audio levels are like, what video quality is like. But yeah, it looks like everything's working. But yeah, so in terms of what we're going to do today, we're just going to continue working on this dude. I do want to revisit the lighting a little bit, so that's what we're going to do. Well, that's what we're going to do first anyway. I just noticed that like a lot of the sharpness of the shadows isn't quite there in mine. My shadows aren't deep enough and they're not sharp enough either. So yeah, I'm going to kind of play about with that and see what's going on. So obviously starting off, here's our ref. I will be doing another model pass in the next couple of streams, just because these models aren't really, well, the face isn't really close enough. There's a few issues with this eye especially, I think. I think the actual eye itself is facing the wrong way, but yeah, we got a few things to figure out. But yeah, I don't think it should take too long before we're at a stage where we can actually adjust this stuff. So let's kind of get going. First off, lighting. So issue I've got right now is that the lighting is, this is too bright in comparison to this, and also the shadows are too soft, like they're way too relaxed. Like, obviously this is quite extreme, but I do feel like we need to fix that. So that's going to be my priority first, just because that will make for a more interesting looking image. So I'm going to do some debug shading instead of the lighting, just because that will render a lot faster. I'm also not rendering with the cloth shaders at the moment because they're the heaviest shaders in the scene, weirdly. So I'm just gonna kind of see what I can do basically. So first, let's start off by simplifying our scene. So we've got an area light and we've got a dome light. So let's hide the area light and see what that's doing. Okay, so a lot of the softness is coming from this. So I'm just gonna call this dome light, get rid of the 1. And I'm going to step the intensity down on this guy. Let's go 0.5. Until we got the shadow darkness that we want. Once we got the shadow darkness that we want, this is still feeling a little bit soft. I feel like I need to tweak the angle slightly. So let's do that actually. Let's just rotate that until we got it going roughly the right direction. This feels like it's going more the right way. I can keep turning it and obviously get more effects like that, but just wait until I get the cheek in the right place. Hey dude, how you doing? So I think this is the right angle. I'm getting too much light in here. I may need to replace my HDR. But let's, for now, get a key light in there. So this is our fill light. Dome LGT. That doesn't need to be all caps. So dome. And this one is our key LGT. Okay, so that sharpness is going back, but let's just I don't have that kind of control this. Is it too loud, can't hear you. Okay, cool. Let me just step it down. So I've set that down by 5 dB. Is that okay? Let me just quickly check my filters as well. I've got a compressor, but I don't have the. Okay. Yeah, let me know if that's okay. I've lowered it by a few dB. So let's get this guy next. I want to add less spread. I really wish normalize worked with that as well. A little more, as in like lower the music even more? Or hey Francisco, how you doing? Yeah, SSW. Do you mean lower the music more? Oh, it's good now. Alright, cool. Cool. So let's start stepping down this guy. Let's go for 11. Okay, 11.5. I'm gonna duplicate that light, just move it. So I don't want it to cast a shadow there. So let's just... Now we'll get rid of that. Okay, so let's just quickly go back into our debug shading and disable it. So what have you done about fighting climate change? Fuck all, to be honest. I mean, I walk every day. I don't drive. That's my bit. So I feel like this needs to be a little bit brighter, maybe. Let's go to 12. Well, one thing I need to double check actually. So what I heard earlier is that for a light to cast caustics, like proper caustics, and have them look correct, you need the light to be visible. And I don't think the lights, you have a visibility setting for, well actually you got camera, haven't you? Does that help? So I remember like I was watching basically a Chris Costa thing, and he was saying how he uses mesh lights because they give better caustics, which I don't understand. But I'm not going to argue with Chris Costa. If he says it helps, then it probably helps. Let's just quickly get back into that debug shading. The sun is like 5500, right, Kelvin? I'm gonna adjust the color temperature of my lights. Apparently that's not doing anything. Do you think protesting helps? Depends where you protest. I mean, I'm not sure where this what do we call it? Where the political stuff is coming from. Let's see what this is doing. Let me try disabling this guy. Oh, that's the ref camp. Catching some more interesting highlights. Just wanted to know what we can do as humans to be better, nothing political. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on like the climate and shit. Just walk more, I guess. Just trying to find, so I see a little bit of a shadow occurring here, which we're starting to get. I'm seeing this shape here, which I think this is down to the shape of my model being incorrect. I don't think I'll be able to get these. Well, I think that might be a bit of reflection. This is like a bounce light from the floor, I think. But I think we're getting the general shadow shapes in now. We're starting to get this, which is good. We need to find an angle where we don't get this inside edge of the eyelid though. I think that might be impossible. It might be a shape of the model issue. Yeah. This is getting bounce light, which is interesting. This in a way feels more correct, while also feeling completely wrong. Which is an interesting combination of factors. Oh, I should lower my resolution actually. Yeah, it needs to go back more towards where it was. Trying to find a balance of where this shadow is located and where the shadows on his face are. It's really difficult. So he needs to go higher to get less of the cheek. I just need to check something on my shader. No, I can't check that right now. Okay, so I think this is okay. So wait, if you click this, is it? Sec. Okay, so let's start adding a little bit more spread. So 1.8. Okay, now we can unhide you. Okay, and you can step this down now, so let's go 11.5. Drag that. It's Pierrot. And it doesn't look. I mean, this looks a lot flatter, obviously. I don't know if this is an objective improvement. It might be a bit too contrasty now compared to what it was. I think warming up the light slightly is better. Let's check a different camera. And that looks a lot more interesting to me. We're also getting a bit more of this variation in the background, which is good. When we add the white paint, we'll probably find this a bit too contrasty now, but we'll find out. Cool. So I think that'll do. I do want to do a bit more look dev on the curtain. Even if it's basic as fuck, like it's just a bit too flat right now. This is feeling a lot better though. Okay, cool. So let's just alt save the scene. Get this to that shade. I'll sort of check my surface. I'm gonna try increasing that just a little bit. And I'm also going to view a snapshot. Again, the paint is going to kind of counteract it all a bit. Yeah, a bit more of a nice glow here, but this is too much. And we will have to paint a, I prefer the increase. Let's try something between these two. Let's try 0.25. We do need to add a little bit of anisotropic to it as well. Yeah, that feels a lot healthier. It's getting a little bit more of a warmth around things. I will have to paint a radius map though to kind of taper it back where the cartilage sits. This is too much, it's too waxy. This is a bit too diffuse feeling now that I look at it, and this feels a bit better. So that's feeling a bit better. We'll keep that anisotropic. Let me quickly Google which way around it's supposed to be. So Arnold standard surface surface. So I'm just trying to remember. Like skin scatters basically away from the light more than it scatters towards the light, and I can't remember which way you need to set the bias for that. Okay, so full back scatter. Which way's which though? Oh, okay, in the direction of the light. Okay, so we want this to be a positive value. And I need to look into this as well at some point. Oh wait, this doesn't work with random. Okay, cool. Okay, so we want a positive value. So I'm just going to go into my anisotropy. Let's still snapshot. Okay, and I'm just going to start a new render. And I'm going to step that forward. Let's go full, just to see what Jesus. Okay. So we definitely don't want to go full. Is that just in case if it breaks at 1? Oh, this is interesting. It completely changes it. So let's go 1, 1. Seems to be kind of artificially extending it though. Maybe the anisotropic effect is a lot more subtle than I remember it being. I remember in V-Ray like using values like fucking 0.5. Okay, let's set this even lower. 0.5. Just give that a moment to clean up. It will kind of artificially extend the radius a little bit, which we don't necessarily want. A little bit more deeper. Let's try it over here. Yeah, it's subtle as all hell. Here I'm seeing a bit of a difference. See how so this is with 0 anisotropy, this is with a little bit of anisotropy. It kind of lights the back of this a little bit more. Which I think I like. I just realised that earlier I was checking it with the old thing. Yeah, I think I prefer. This feels softer, so I think a little bit of anisotropy helps a bit. I also want to check if I have auto bump turned on. Yeah, I do. Okay. And this is something you need to enable now. I don't think so. Cool. Why 9 and 9 is what it's set to by default. So I also just want to change these settings slightly. just trying to get the other geometry. Fuck, it's gone to the eye. It's the fluid layer. Okay, we got caustics turned on. Do we need it turned on for that? Can't remember. Don't need it for the lens. Oh, actually, no, we might need it for the lens. Okay. So I think that'll do for now. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've pushed it too far or not. We can always come back to it later. I think I like the new sharpness. I'm not necessarily too keen on new contrast. Let's give that a quick adjustment as well. So I'm just going to save the scene. Okay. And I'm just going to step down this guy slightly. And step up this guy slightly. View, slow snapshot. Just reducing the contrast a bit makes it so much less interesting. It's still more than it was. I feel like I need to commit to the contrast. Just allow it. We can always return to it later. Or maybe steps halfway between those two. So this would be 5.5 and you'd be 11.25. The problem is that the fill light or the dome light is like softening the shadows completely. We're getting more shadow here. This feels more natural. So last thing I want to check is what does soft edge do? Too major. Now I'm going to commit to the contrasty boy. That will give me that. Yeah, it's giving me that. But there's something going on here. Oh no, okay, that's just like a sampling. Yeah, it's just too low res to kind of catch stuff in the first few passes. Cool. So let's quickly do some of the dev on the back curtain here. First, check the CVs. Okay, so that's correct. Okay, cool. In which case, we got curtain line now. Wait, what? Oh, it's just AOV, so very cool. So I need to close that. Okay, so that's just giving me a purlin. So let's find. That's a lot more in focus than I expected it to be. I also need to do an actual curtain at some point. But for now, I'll just use world space noises so I can kind of get away with not doing a full simulation. Cool, so octaves, let's add, in fact no, let's go to Wally. How does Wally look? Wally 2. Okay, so let's go, scale needs to go up, right? No, scale needs to go down. Kind of adds like a memory fold feel to it. Now we'll keep that turned off, but I'll add a little bit of it in later. A bit more saturated. Perhaps a tiny bit more yellow. I'll call this noise memory folds. Cool. Edit, indicate, shading network, sure. And this will be like a generic. Oh, alligator noise will look cool. Let's create a AI layer RGBA. Okay, and we'll want cloth node to be the foundation of this. Oh shit. be the second layer. Then we need a third layer, which for now I'll drag you directly into it. I'll create the outputs for us. All of these to plus. Set range plug. Okay, so turn off all the layers. Need that multiplier as well. I don't know why it insists on crossing the lines like all the time. Cool, that's a more interesting effect to it. So let's add the second layer. This one's alligator from correctly, yep. Okay, so this one, let's set to noise quite a few octaves. Set strength to all the way to 1, so we can see exactly what it's doing. This one needs to be a bit more uniform, so let's set it to 1, 1, and 1. Feels suitably sharp. Okay, so let's go 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. wondering if it's worth putting the cloth weave itself specifically in bump. Well, this seems to be working to some extent. We will get back into Mari soon, I swear. Yeah, let's quickly just slightly reduce. Get a little bit more vibrant values just because we've got less breakup in the shadows. Okay, let's quickly increase this as well. Let's do this thing for a moment. I guess while that goes, we can get into Mari. Right, so many things to do. Just gonna quickly move this guy down here for now. So this guy was our main ref. I'm gonna work a little bit more on the kind of more secondary values. Although I need to check how alive my guy feels. He's way too saturated. Yeah, so I think obviously the main thing, if I get Maya back open, my guy feels too healthy, but a lot of that will come from the splotchiness, I think. So I'm going to change the tone of the red. I think mine is too pink at the moment. If I set the red to be a little bit more blue, kind of like what you're seeing here, then that will make him feel just a little bit more dead. Rather than feeling so kind of healthy for an old man. I mean, the perfect skin doesn't help. Like once I've sculpted all the breakup in the skin, especially skin pores, it'll break up the reflections, make them feel less smooth. But the color's wrong too. So let's start reducing the color. And then I need to go in and do some color bev on the curtain map. So I'm going to let that continue in the background because we're not using too much CPU right now. Okay, so let's just go into our node graph. I need to find my red, and I need to adjust the hue of this. So we want the hue to go more towards cold, which I can do by just moving that. Let's go to 0. Oh, that's the opposite of what I want. Maybe it's the other way that I need. That's definitely not what I need. Yes, okay. So I was wrong, I need to add more of the blues. Okay, so let's find a good number for you. So you just set to 12 red, so I guess we just need to add more blue. Right, it's just nowhere near enough blue. And then once I've done this, I'll start adding some more subtleties. So let's get a little bit more blue on the cheek. So let's do our first pass of, I guess, detailing. So I'm going to add a node or a merge specifically for these kind of like, oh, well, I guess I should do these yellows first because they feel really sickly. Yeah, let's do those yellows. And then I need to do these red spots. Okay, so this is all base tones, so let's just move that over here. I'd say that's a base tone as well. Okay, so I need to backdrop all this. Backdrop. Base tones. Cool. Create a merge. That will have a color node, which will go into over, and I need to create a paint node, which will be 4K, and this will be paint. What are those yellow bits called? I can always rename it later, but I don't want to call it yellow bits. I'm not sure. Let's check on this. That's going alright. So let's, oh, we killed the render already. So let's just save our scene. I'm also going to save the render while I'm at it, just so we got a backup if the scene crashes. Cool, so back into Mari, and to this pane, let's plug you into mask. Actually, disconnect that quickly.
There's some things I want to
Let's get that yellow in there.
come lie down with me.
Just gonna call it yellow spots. I'll find out what it's called and rename it later. So I'm also gonna quickly close the scene
Just want
and archive it as a new version. Projects, personal work, Gustave Dore, texturing, Mari archives. Give that a moment to do its thing.
Are you leaving me?
we're all leaving. You feel me with you.
It's taking a bit longer than usual. Hopefully it's not too long. Okay, so we want this around the eyes. At some point, we're going to switch out the model for the sculpt version. Let's okay, so there we go. I need to check the color value of that. I'm looking at this kind of area here, so let's adjust that. So we definitely want it to be brighter. Like that. Let's get some Brad's brushes. Oh, we do need to darken the eyelids as well, actually, while I'm at it. So that should be back in base. We're going to need to add a purple tone, aren't we? Interesting look. Right, so let's just delete you. Nice. Paint. Go to 2K for this guy. Okay, and let's just paint that around the eyes. Have you put nothing where it locks up again? I didn't realise the control key does this. Why is it doing this? Weird. Alright, so back to basic brushes. So we need to get back on slow flow, or super soft even, and just get some dark purple into the eye. Not that much, but I can step it back in a moment. It's no big deal. So that helped a little bit. And then, so that's our yellow spot, so let's just duplicate this. And this is going to be our, I guess this will be our red spots. Or blemishes. Yeah, this will be our blemishes. Oh, how do you spell blemish? Let me Google this because I feel like an idiot. Oh, it's totally right. Okay, this looks wrong to me. Right. Okay. So create a paint node. 4K for this boy. This color should be that kind of deep red. What that will do. And this is exclusively for blemishes. So things like this down here and the kind of spotting and this stuff. This is where like the actual detailing starts to come in. I will go through all the others again with like a texture brush. But for now, let's go with this. So let's go with a vascular brush. This colour needs to be way more saturated. So I guess the key to what I'm doing at the moment, because again, I'm not really a texture artist, so take everything I do with a grain of salt. But the key that I'm doing right now is I'm obviously adding texture detail because all the other stuff is like base colors to establish the overall tone. What I'm doing now is adding texture, but the key to what I'm doing is the fact that I'm not trying to place specific marks in most cases. So like all this stuff up here, I'm letting the texture of the brush itself do the work. And the way I'm doing that is by painting value on and then erasing it with that same brush and kind of like randomizing my strokes and doing, kind of tapping rather than doing particular strokes. What that's doing is because that kind of texture is moving each time, I don't have full control of the shapes it creates. So as long as that texture itself feels organic, you're going to end up with organic shapes. They may not be exactly what's in the reference, but that's not necessarily always what you need. They will get a generally organic breakup with actually very little work. That's my general approach to this sort of stuff. Granted, it's not a perfect approach. It's not conducive to getting something that matches a plate, but if you wanted to match a plate, you just do projections. But yeah. What I'll do is when I find patches that I kind of keep, like this one here, I'll reinforce it later on with different textures. So I'll go in with maybe a vein brush, or maybe even, when I get to that really kind of anal stage, I'll start going in with, what's the word I'm looking for right now? Start going in with like a basic brush and actually paint vein shapes and get a vascularity that way. But at the moment I'm way off that stage, so I'm just trying to get like a general kind of breakup in there. Like that. The danger is it becoming too splotchy, so you do need to spend some time to kind of avoid, just kind of, you need to be random with your randomness. You can't just like do like a clouds modifier, node, sorry, and expect it to look good. Too much actually. Yeah, I'll do like a red splotchiness and a purple splotchiness, and I'll kind of go in and slowly build up all the layers. Again, I cannot stress enough, if you're doing skin for production, the way I'm working right now is probably too granular, and it won't necessarily get you results every time. Because you're relying on randomness, you can't guarantee results. But like, if we take a look at this layer, like what it's doing for us, it's taking it from perfectly flat to having some breakup on it. It will start to feel more like skin when we actually put this in. Although I am getting too regular now with this, so I need to start being careful. I also need to add colour variation within this, because currently I'm just using a flat colour, but eventually I'll replace that with textures. So I replace it with like a clouds thing, and because it's only the colours being replaced with it, I'll still have this like painted breakup, but within that it's not all the same tone. It's not all the same red kind of being placed around everywhere, which does quite a lot for you. Right, let's get a little bit more on this side. Let's just do that. Fuck it, why not? And oversized brush. Actually, I'm going to try to use an eraser. Because that means using the eraser rather than... oh shit, where was that? Oh, it's that velvet, okay, cool. So the strength of using the eraser is that you can't affect other areas, you can only affect what's currently on the paint buffer. If you're new to Mari and you happen to be watching this, basically Mari doesn't paint on your model, not directly anyway. It paints on what's called the paint buffer. Paint buffer is almost like a planer or a pane of glass in front of your model. So I'm currently painting on like an invisible sheet of glass. And then when I go to move my camera, or when I press B, it has a moment of lag, and that's because it's projecting that onto your model. Which is why you get stuff like this, where that plane of glass couldn't see behind the nostril, so I'm getting this scene. The strength of that method is that you have a lot more flexibility in projection, obviously, but also you can erase what you're currently painting on without affecting what's already being projected to the model. So I can go in this area, for example, and I can start painting over this. Let's just do something like that, and then I can go in with the eraser. So there's a way of doing that, and I can actually recover that initial stroke because I haven't projected it. The moment you project it, it's gone. But like, I can kind of work on this area. So let's say I want to like strengthen this, like start adding like, you know, veins and shit. So I start going in, I do something like that. If I was to now paint black to kind of get rid of these, it would get rid of the initial blemish that I did. If I use the eraser to get rid of it, I can soften it in without losing that original blemish. So it allows me to kind of strengthen it up like that. And then when I press B, it's now part of it. It's now actually painted in. So now I can't just erase it out. But yeah, it's a really, really cool like tool. Once you get used to it, it's very, very powerful. It just takes a little while. I need to get in the habit of pressing R rather than square brackets. Try a completely different pattern. What does this brush do? That's very splotchy. We'll see what that does. I'm gonna paint it in the chin. Right, I'm gonna go in with the eraser, set to the same brush. Set to the same brush. I said set to the same brush, come on. There we go. Yeah, that gets a really nice splotchiness actually. I find most brushes in Mari, they're fine, but they work best when you add and then subtract. At least for me, at least for my taste. So I'm just going to add a little bit more back in the middle. let's try doing a test render. I just want to see what these new values are doing. So let's go to channels, and I haven't updated any of these, I don't think, so I'm just going to export flattened, export current channel flattened. I also need to update to OCIO 2.0 in Maya so I can sync it up with Mari. Or I can just get Mari on OCIO 1.03. I need to decide. Cool. So let's go into here, and this is okay. So let's go into Arnold, flush caches. In fact, no, update TX files. Okay, and that's just that rendered way too quickly. I have a suspicion it didn't actually update the text. I didn't actually load it, sorry. Hello. That's interesting. What's happened there? Oh, just turning that on override. Okay, cool. And that's something new. Turning that on overrides the color. Yeah, it's starting to help quite a lot. I need to update the actual OS there. I'm going to head off fairly soon, I think. Did no issue on my 2022. OCIO is automatic. Yeah, so OCIO 2.0 is the default now. However, this project was started in a version prior. So when I go into my preferences, OCIO is set to 1.03. I need to set this back to OCIO 2.0, which means obviously adjusting every file in my scene. But, you know, so be it, if that's what it takes. I really need to revisit these grapples, they're awful. Yeah, but getting there. That's a big improvement. So let's just keep adding blemishes. And we'll probably do another pass to get freckles and stuff in there. In fact, I'll throw some freckles and liver spots in as this next update. So let's get back into Mari, back into node graph, and I'm just going to duplicate you. Do this. Cool. And then so that's doubled up the strength. It's kind of horrific, really, isn't it? I'm just going to replace that paint. Let's get a freckle color. So I normally go a little bit more saturated than I should, just because I will be painting a mask that isn't going to be solid white, so it never quite reaches full saturation. So let's try that. Paint. This one will be 4K as well. Cool. Man, little bruises. Yeah, it adds tons, right? It's such a simple thing to do as well. It's really easy to paint. As you saw, like I just kind of like rely on what do we call it? I rely on Mari just kind of fucking about with alphas for me. And it does so much. This is... Okay, so let's get back into Mari. So this is our freckles. And at some point I will start painting displacement. I don't mean projecting texture out as Z, to be honest. I want to see if I can hand sculpt everything in this project, which will take fucking ages, but I want to try it. But obviously that would be all Z-disp then, but it doesn't mean I can't mix it with actually hand painted disp. So I think for the freckles, for example, I'll probably do those in Mari for displacement. So just kind of, I'll grab the mask that I use, run that through like a clouds, and put that into a displacement channel, and that will allow me to kind of add that on top of what's already in Z-disp. Hopefully it doesn't break, because obviously that secondary displacement won't necessarily be operating on the same normals as the Z-disp, so it'll act quite weird. But yeah, anyway, so let's get into basically loops. What are you? So let's just get a quick. Necessarily want this lacy loops thing. Let's go back to a basic brush, go with linear. I should be working at 8K rather than 4. So some of these things that I'm looking at in the reference are actually liver spots and not freckles. So I'm gonna maybe add one more. Got these two. Okay, let's get. Let's get salt in the middle there. And just eat away at the edge. Curse freckles are so asymmetrical, it's actually kind of impressive. Like, all of his freckles on the right side, left side, sorry, or his right, so it was actually right. Okay, and let's add a liver spots. Liver spots is mostly the same. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more yellow. So let's create a paint node. Is it possible to create higher than 4K? There has to be a way. Well, it's because the channel itself is set to 4K. Yeah, that makes sense. Right, so color for liver spots, we're going to go a little bit more desaturated, a little bit more yellow, some more yellow, stuff like that will do. Yo, long time no see. Hey dude, how you doing? Yeah, I've finished freelance recently, so I'm free again. Although, update for you guys, because I don't know if you made it to the last stream. So, I'm leaving Blue Zoo, and I'm moving to Montreal. Yeah, there's some stuff in the pipeline, basically. But moving to Canada in hopefully November, depends on when my visa goes through. I don't imagine I'll have any issues, because I've already worked in Canada before, even if it was just for a month. But yeah, I'm going back to NPC in episodic as a permanent look dev artist, which was a surprise when they gave me the permanency. But yeah, so I'm going to be working on some cool episodic stuff. Obviously respectful of NDAs, I'm not going to say what I'm going to be doing, but it's really cool. I'm quite excited. After a year or so of doing kids TV, I'm very ready to do like that kind of realistic stuff again. Kids TV is cool, but it's really not for me. But yeah, anyway, so let's get some liver spots in there. About the painting on the face, will you do albedo straight away or another layer? So I'm currently doing it as a displacement layer. Well, not displacement layer, a material layer. So we'll be adding, there we go. Yeah, I'll be adding a separate material for it and kind of layering it on top, which is going to be fun. Okay, so that's not really much of a liver spot. Montreal is nice. Yeah, it's also really fucking cold, which I am actually excited for. But yeah, it's going to be really cold. So I'll be getting there like mid-November-ish. So it'll be kind of approaching that -10, I think, around that time of year. At its coldest, it'll be like -30, I think, with wind chill. That -10 in December, I think, is with wind chill as well. Hope you speak French though. I've been trying. I am doing a lot of stuff on Duolingo at the moment. But I'm obviously not conversational. That's going to take a while. I've learned how to be polite enough to say like, hello, how are you? How do you speak English? No, I am legitimately trying. I'm not going to speak it on stream because I'll just embarrass myself, but I am currently trying really hard to learn French. Just to be respectful, since that's what obviously that's their language. Okay, let's get back into blemishes. He was forced to learn it. How come you were forced to learn French? Consult the reference. Yeah, okay. I need to get some of that yellow in the air as well. But yeah, Creams, have you ever worked in Montreal before? Oh, also, just for the extra info, Becca is obviously coming with me as well. I think she's just got a job there. I think I'm not gonna say where she's got the job yet because I think she wants to say that. She found out like yesterday that she's got a job. So I'll let her be the one to kind of say where she's working if she wants to. Yet I don't know. But yeah, me and Becca are both going out together, which will be a lot of fun. I'm just waiting on my visa, and same for Becca as well. Waiting on our visas. I'll sort out the stuff behind you in a moment. Cool, let's see how that looks. And then I'll probably do a little bit of tweaking in Maya, then end the stream, I think. Let's just save that. Channels, export. Cool. Once that's done, close it, start it archiving, jump into Maya. Update full scene. Partly is way too dark. Okay, let's quickly correct that because that's enough thing to fix. Okay, so let's get into photograph. There's blemishes, yep. Paint. Okay, channels, export current channel 500. Cool, close, archive it again, over 6.14 gig. You changed the size. Faster. Now it's 5. Where does file size in these come from? Either way, update full scene. Actually, what I'll quickly adjust the strength of the memory folds. So let's go into memory folds is in layer 3, which means it's U, which means I'm going to crank this and just quickly do that. Okay, so that's half that. Trying to find a sweet spot. This is a little bit too subtle. Cool. Let's just save the scene. I'm going to throw the other materials back on. So these are both the same material. They're both cloth outfit. This and you, you are both cloth ruffle. And this is cloth ruffle cover. There it is. Oh, and you. That is haircap, hairnet. There you go. Which actually I need to adjust that too. So let's quickly do that. It's too transparent at the moment. So all I need to do is just increase these a bit. So it's 0.45. Okay, cool. So let's go 0.66. Sure, why not? Fine. Just because I prefer like numbers that are a bit cleaner. Let's go 65. This is where the renders get like obscenely long. Ugh. I also need to unhide one of the Grim's outliner. I also need to change the colour of the pom-pom because they're too bright at the moment. They're almost like emitting light into the scene because of how bright they are. Slower the renders are now. It's honestly hilarious to me. It's the neck ruffle. It's the slowest thing in the scene to render. Yeah, cool. Right, well, I'm gonna leave that to do its thing for a while. Let's quickly check the hat. Might be a little bit too opaque now. So let's set that to 5.5. I need to put a groom on this at some point as well. I just need to do a groom for his actual head. You can just about see his head like through the net. Cool. Well, I'm gonna kick off that render then. Let's just do that. And lock that down. Cool. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Yeah, starting to make some progress now and actually making the texture look decent rather than like moderately okay. The update to the lighting has definitely done the most. I'm quite happy with that. It's not a perfect scene by any stretch, but I'm also just realizing now how transparent the shadows are becoming. That's a problem. I'm going to need to look into the shading of that net cover thing. Anyway, yeah, I hope everyone's having a good time. I will be streaming again during the week, possibly tomorrow. I don't know. I am getting back into the habit of streaming now though, which is fun. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna head off. I hope you guys are all doing great, and I'll see you in the next stream. Bye guys.